Welcome back. In the first lesson, you drew a picture of the CodeWorld logo. When you wrote the word CodeWorld logo in the drawing of function, the word turned blue. That means the computer already knew what CodeWorld logo means. It's in its library and can draw it for you. But in the last lesson, you wrote the word name tag in the drawing of function, and it didn't turn blue. It remained black. When words are black, it means that the computer doesn't already know these words, and you have to tell it what they mean, or define them. You told the computer what name tag meant by describing the shapes and text that make up your name tag, and your name tag became a new word in its library. These words and their meanings are called variables. You can define variables with different types of values, like numbers, colors, pictures, and more. In the program you worked on last time, you made a name tag. Open that program now. You define the word name tag with a picture of your name tag. In addition to name tag, you can create other variables. Follow along on your own computer and let's add some new variables to your program. On a new line, create a variable called name and define it with your name. It will be text, so make sure you put quotation marks around the value. Now, create a variable called age and define it to be your age in years. Next, let's create a variable with the value of how many letters are in your name and call it name letters. Brooklyn has 8 letters, so I'll define it to be the number 8. When you want to define a variable using more than one word, you have to write the words together as one word and capitalize every word except for the first one to make your variable easier to read. This is called camel case because of the hump sticking up. All variables have to start with a lowercase letter, so be sure not to capitalize the first letter. Try it by yourself. How can you create a variable for your favorite color using camel case? Did you guess? You push 2 words together, favorite color, making sure the first letter is a lowercase letter and color has a capital letter. Then define it to be your favorite color. Remember that if the computer knows the color name you use, it will turn blue. But if you use a color it doesn't know, like periwinkle, the word will be black and you'll need to try a different color for its value, a less specific one like purple. Let's hit run and see what happens when we run this code. Below the canvas, notice it says line 4, column 1, warning, defined but not used, name. Line 5, column 1, warning, defined but not used, age, and so on. You still get a program that shows your name tag because that's how the program was defined, but your computer will let you know that you never used the other variables. Now replace your name after the text function with your variable called name and run the program. Do you see what you just did? Name and quotation mark Brooklyn quotation mark have the exact same value. That's what the equal sign means, so you can use either of them. You replaced your name with the name variable and got the same results. Let's try using another variable. Now replace one of the circle arguments with name letters. And you see that the circle radius changed to the same number as you have letters in your name. My circle now has a radius of 8. It got bigger. You replace the radius argument with name letters, so the value of that variable becomes the radius. So a variable is a name that represents a value, whether that value is a picture, a number, text, or color. You may have seen the variable x in math to mean an unknown number. In this program, name tag, name, age, name letters, and favorite color were also variables with unknown values until you told the computer what their values are by using an equation. What's the root word of equation? Equal. The equal sign tells us that both sides of the equation have the same or equal values. There are many ways we can write equations, but both sides always have to be equal. For example, the equations 3 plus 5 equals 8 and 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 8 are both correct, since in both equations the values on both sides of the equal sign are 8. Let's think about this idea in a visual way. If we take this giant X, for example, I could design this in a few different ways. I could write 2 long slanted lines, or I could do a V and an upside down V, or 2 sideways V's. No matter what design path I choose, what is on the left and on the right sides of the equal sign are always equal. Let's try another one. What if I wanted to draw this box? How many ways can you think of to create this picture? Pause this video, and when you're finished with the activity, move on to the next video.